Hey guys, it's Heather here with Underwater Panther, and I am opening a new series, more like 6 or 7 new series here on this channel. And what got me started was a few days ago, I had literally come across my first deep fake AI video. This video was trying to impersonate Joe Rogan, and the entire video was fake. The information was false. It was like impersonating Joe Rogan, and I literally could not tell in the first probably 15 seconds or so. And I had to watch it again. It was a very short clip. It had about 70,000 views, and it was extremely upsetting. I am an Aquarian mind. My top pet peeves are fake people and mis or disinformation, whatever you want to call it. So, after that incident, I started studying into AI and what are the freaking laws that we have in regards to AI, fake, deep fake crap made by AI online. And I realized that the only law that we currently have federally is people posting um, I don't know if I can say this without getting, whatever, a strike on here, but it was literally the only law we have is someone posting someone else's face on nudity. And so it's a sexual, porn or whatever. So federally, that is the only guardrail we have on deep fake videos created by AI. My second question was, is AI doing it itself? Is AI literally uploading, creating fake, profiles, whatever you want to call it, on YouTube? And that is currently not a thing yet, but I can certainly foresee that in the future. So you have people, human beings right now online creating thousands and thousands of videos, fake videos, bad information, impersonating very huge people online that people follow, like Joe Rogan. And so I am upset. I'm extremely upset. We knew that this was coming with AI years ago. Here we are at the end of 2025, and we have absolutely no guardrails. And so I went into some deep studies with every single state in the United States. That is where I am from, in regards to what are we working on with laws, guardrails around AI. And so I decided to create a whole series on that in itself, technology, data centers. I deep dove. I have a lot of information I would like to talk about in regards to that. So, this video is an introduction to a different topic, geopolitical, political topic. So, I'm going to go through my introduction here, but I just wanted to start with a preface of I am upset. I have done a hell of a lot of research in the last 20 years in many, many different topics, and I kind of preached, I don't know, 12 years ago. I was like, "Oh my God, I need to start like talking about these topics." And I learned very quickly that people were not ready for the information. It was very emotionally triggering. People were not doing their own research. And so I went a different direction. I got into fitness, bodybuilding, nutrition. And about 8 years ago, I got into psychology. So currently, I am at an astro-psychological lens through which I view life. But I have done insane amounts of studying into many, many topics. So I have been initiated, activated into this type of information. So my channel is going to be evolving, so to speak, into many different series. I will still talk about astropsychology. Obviously, that is my passion. I love it. I have 30 books written so far. I plan on writing many, many more. So This is an introduction to how I'm evolving, really. So, welcome to the Pantherian Order, where we decode the shadow realms. If you're here, you're not random. Underwater Panther is a sanctuary for the mythic mind. We decode archetypes, shadow work, astrology, psychology, power cycles, and the architecture of the Aquarian Age. So I have recently released 2 books. I will get into that, a little bit of sales promo for my books and merchandise, and go through this tribal language that we use here. So I have certainly thought a lot about my business and where I want to take it. So this is a lot about the architecture of the Aquarian Age. I am Aquarius minded, Mercury in the 11th house, so this is huge. I am the millennial generation, Scorpio and Pluto, and so I have been extremely activated, and I'm going to be talking a lot on a lot of different topics. So I am doing this so that you can understand who you are, why you're here, and what this era is asking of you. So the tribal language we use here we speak a language that cuts through illusion and returns us to truth, not the algorithmic kind, not the political kind, but the cosmic, psychological, ancestral kind. So I am 2025. It's cold in here. That's why you're seeing my breath. I've got a space heater on. You might be able to see that or hear that. So anywho, a lot in 2025, I had a great aunt pass away on my Native American side. So I have done a lot of research into I'm affiliated with 4 tribes. And so I am getting into a lot of Native American teachings as well. So that is a lens that I come from. I was raised Catholic. I am a farm kid, so my family farms. And that is a little bit of my background. So this is the dialect of this tribe. Spirituality, not religion. A direct relationship with source, ancestors, and natural law. Not dogma, not gates, only truth that resonates through experience. Ancient astrology, not surface level woo. The original science of time, cycles, and human behavior. A cosmic map rooted in thousands of years of observation. Not horoscopes, not gimmicks, but truth encoded in the sky. Psychology, not guesswork. Cognitive functions, trauma patterns, attachment theory, shadow integration. Real internal mechanics, not just vibes. A discipline that reveals the truth of how the mind actually works. So I am speaking about my tribal language here, the language that I speak and believe in. So politics, not through a cosmic lens. Not left, not right, patterns of empire, power, collapse, and rebirth. Truth free from propaganda and tribal identity. We look at politics the way the ancients looked at eclipses. Trauma described through archetypes. So the psyche can understand itself without shame. Your wounds are not flaws, they are mythic initiations. We translate pain into truth and truth into evolution. Philosophy with soul, not sterile theory, not detached analysis, a living wisdom that helps you navigate collapse cycles, relationships, and purpose. Philosophy that breathes and philosophy that transforms. So this is where the unseen becomes understood. This is the initiation into the mythic mind and mythic language, where shadow is not darkness but depth, where we decode archetypes and integrate the power. This is for those who are always too deep for the surface world. All right, so I've done a lot of studies in many different ways lately, especially into my business and where I want to take this, as well as who my audience is, which obviously reflects who I am. So this channel is for the Mythic Mind Collective, and I'm going to break that down. So this channel is for the pattern seers, to those who see connections nobody else sees, the ones who talk in symbols, metaphors, dreams, and cosmic timing. And this channel is for the exiles, the often misunderstood, mislabeled, or dismissed, who have religious trauma, spiritual awakening, or deep shadow journeys. This is to the philosophers at midnight, people who think and question, why does the world feel like a script? Why do the ages feel like they're shifting? Why is everything collapsing and awaking at the same time? This channel is for the rebels of the new age. This goes to the ones who distrust systems but love meaning, who reject fake authority but crave cosmic order. We're wired for the Aquarian era, which we are currently in. This also goes out to the ones who feel the pulse of history, to those who sense timelines, cycles, and power shifts, who's drawn to ancient but relevant wisdom, esoteric frameworks, truth, and synchronicities. So that is the tribe that I am talking to. All right, so I finally completed the 2 biggest books of my life, and they are what initiated me into this multiple series I'll be uploading throughout 2026. So I just recently launched the Scorpio or ENFP archetype, the huge master book on the Scorpio or ENFP ego. It is over 500 pages. It is a complete map of identity, shadow, intimacy, emotion, and rebirth. So check that out. I will have all these links in the description box below. Just wanted to get housekeeping out of the way. I also launched the Underwater Panther Master Framework of the Aquarian Age. It's over 400 pages. Deals with shadow work, polarity repair, masculine and feminine integration, and the hidden architecture of the Aquarian Age. So those 2 books I recently finished. I framed the Scorpio book about 8 years ago, so it is a huge accomplishment. I do plan on getting the 12 personality types ego books volume 1 done, hopefully by the end of 2026. I believe I have 6 more to go. I have a list. I have a lot going on in my mind. I have many tabs open as well. I don't want to miss any. Anyways, I'll put all that information in the description. Oh, here's the list. It's right in front of my face, for goodness sakes. I am prepared. All right. So, anyways, I just dropped 2 huge flagship books. Both are over 400 pages. The Scorpio or ENFP archetype book, and then the Master Framework for the Aquarian Age. Huge milestone for myself. So as of today, every digital product, my books, I have multiple books in the Underwater Panther store, is on sale, including my apparel. I have key cards. Let me grab. I have key cards that I've created for every single personality type. You can currently buy those as stickers. Those are on sale for 33% off, and the code is Phoenix, Phoenix 33. So Phoenix 33 is the code for 33% off of all of my books, including the Scorpio book, the Aquarian Age Master Framework. I have Aries, Taurus, Aries, ESTP, Taurus, ESTJ, Gemini, ENTJ, Libra, ENTP, Pisces, INFJ books, archetype ego books done. Those are all on sale. I have 4 elemental nutshell guides, so I break down the 12 personality types astro-psychologically in the 4 elements, so you can grab those. I can't remember how much they are, but they are on sale. I have an Aquarius or INTJ. I have multiple books. I spent all of last year going over the Aquarian personality type. I am an Aquarius mind. And we are in the Aquarian Age. It is a very misunderstood personality type, as well as Scorpio and Pisces. So I have all those books done. The Aquarian INTJ book series, I have the Wealth Guide, Boundaries Guide, Emotional Mastery Guide. Check those out. I do have stickers, merchandise. I have sweaters. I have tote bags. What else? A couple of t-shirts, I believe. So use code Phoenix33 for 33% off of all of my books and apparel. All right, so the new era has already begun, the age of Aquarius. If you felt pulled between masculine and feminine roles, frustrated with modern dating, activated by collective chaos, like your identity is shifting, like you no longer fit into the old world, like you're meant to build something entirely new, it's because you're one of the bridge souls of the Aquarian Age, and this is your initiation. All right, so that was a very huge introduction. I am now going to get into my geopolitics video 1. So today I'm opening a brand new series, one that will probably rattle people, wake people, and piss off the entire political spectrum. This is the Geopolitics Through the Aquarian Age Lens series, a series for people who can't learn through dry maps, military briefings, or 5-hour congressional hearings, but can understand the world instantly when it's explained through symbolism, cycles, archetypes, and cosmic timing. If you need geopolitics decoded through astrology, psychology, empire, pattern recognition, Indigenous timelines, Pluto cycles, and mythic narrative, then welcome. This series is literally built for you. Because the truth is, America is not collapsing randomly. It is collapsing right on schedule. Every empire follows the same 7 stages. Every Aquarius age breaks the same structures. Every Pluto cycle exposes the same wounds. So we do have Pluto in Aquarius currently, and I'm going to be breaking down the Aquarian Age massively in depth throughout multiple different series. All this time, the downfall is happening faster because the digital era accelerates collapse at exponential speed. If you feel like the world is crumbling faster than your mind can process, you're not crazy, you're awake. Your intuition simply sees the pattern that the institutions refuse to acknowledge. I'm going to take a quick coffee protein drink. Oh, gosh. Oh, God, that's so good. All right. So why this series matters. America is not collapsing because it's weak. America is collapsing because it chose to be an empire instead of a nation. The U.S. spent decades prioritizing war over wellness, foreign dominance over domestic stability, military expansion over infrastructure, global projection over internal coherence. Rome did this, Britain did this, Spain did it, the Ottomans did it, every empire before collapse did this. Pluto in Aquarius simply removes the illusion and exposes the rot. So the collapse has 5 main roots: empire over nation, institutional decay, hyper inequality, social fragmentation, infrastructure breakdown. These are not conspiracy theories. These are textbook collapse indicators that historians, indigenous nations, and political theorists have been warned about for decades. Add in mass addiction, mental health collapse, digital disinformation, demographic decline, AI acceleration, and climate instability. And you get an empire entering the disintegration stage of its Pluto cycle. But here's the part we don't often hear. Every collapse is also a rebirth, but only for the civilizations willing to evolve. Aquarius is not here to punish. Aquarius is here to purify. It removes corruption, hierarchy, empire logic, extractive economies, artificial identities, and institutional illusions, so that humanity can return to local community, indigenous governance principles that the Europeans tried to copy in a way. Shared responsibility, spiritual coherence, balanced masculine and feminine energetics, and technological ethics. This is the truth era. And in this series, we're going to decode it chapter by chapter. So there are solutions, but they are not political necessarily. They are structural, psychological, and spiritual at its core. Aquarius demands decentralization, local sovereignty, definancialization of basic life, breaking corporate capture, rebuilding social identity, and restoring natural law. Indigenous nations survived 10,000 plus years because they built societies aligned with cosmic cycles, not profit, ego, or empire. This is the blueprint America must return to. So the collapse will happen in 3 phases from 2023 to 2044. The cracking, the disintegration, and the reconstruction. Most people alive today were born precisely for this period. This isn't doom, this is initiation. Empires fall, but people evolve, and eras transform. Aquarius dismantles the hierarchy so that humanity can rebuild horizontally through networks, not empires. This is the age of decentralization, community, technical ethics, spiritual sovereignty, and polarity repair. If you're alive right now, you're not here to speculate history. You're here to build the new one. All right, so I have multiple different videos that I am wanting to do for this series. I'm trying to make geopolitics understandable for intuitive and symbolic thinkers like myself. I absolutely cannot stand politics. I cannot stand earthly things. I'm extremely spiritual. I am extremely higher minded. I am a Pisces sun, 12th house, Venus North Node. My palace is in Libra, and all of my asteroids are in Gemini. So I also have a Capricorn stellium, moon, 10th house, midheaven, you name it. I am an Aries rising, Aries ESTP rising. I am a pioneer in my own right. So that is a little introduction on my own energetics, Aquarian mind, 11th house. So the series here, my geopolitic series, I want to talk about the war machine, military industrial complex, the intelligence state, CIA, NSA, and deep structures there, how empires collapse, 7 stages, why America is falling from within, Pluto and Aquarius, global power rewrites, foreign aid, the hidden money loop, domestic collapse, the cost of empire, the U.S.-Israel relationship, a Cold War relic, the multipolar world, BRICS, China, and the New Order, the spiritual and indigenous prophecy layer, power shifts from 2025 to 2030, mapped to astrology, Pluto and Aquarius in global restructuring, tech war, US, China, India, AI, and data empires, water wars, resource scarcity, and the Taurus-Scorpio axis. So we are in the Aquarian Age, and the only way that we can ground ourselves is through the Taurus-Scorpio axis. This is a Venetian era, so we are moving from hierarchy to networking, community through, close and far away networks. I will definitely be going into that in a different series, as well as in this series, but it will be worded a little bit differently. The return of populism versus technocracy, the new geography of power, land, alliances, and cycles, America's Pluto return, ripple effects. So the purpose is to teach astrology, geopolitics, in mythic narrative form. And I cannot stand it, but it is absolutely necessary in this age. So, welcome to the episode 1 of Empire, Shadow, and Aquarius, the Truth Era in Geopolitics. This is a series where we take geopolitics out of the hands of think tanks, lobbyists, and 5-star generals and put it back into the hands of intuitive people, spiritual people, indigenous people, psychologically aware people, and anyone who learns through symbolism instead of spreadsheets, because you deserve to understand the world without needing a PhD in international relations. Today we're starting with something simple. America isn't dying because it's weak. It's dying because it's been living as an empire, not a nation. And empires always fall from within. America is not collapsing because it's poor. America is collapsing because it's prioritizing wrong. There's a massive difference. Right now, we are living through the exact same pattern that ended every major empire in world history. Rome, Britain, the Ottomans, the Soviets, you name it. They spent more on controlling the world than caring for the people living inside their borders. This is not a left or right argument. This is a structural reality. So, you can feel the tension in the air, certainly. Homelessness under luxury towers, schools crumbling, veterans discarded, bridges collapsing, medical debt exploding, families splitting under economic pressure. While at the same time, billions for foreign wars are approved in days. If you've ever wondered how can a rich country feel so poor, or why do we never have money for Americans but always have money for war, tonight we're going all the way in through receipts, shadow structures, historical pattern, and the astrological timing that explains why this is unfolding now and not 20 years ago. So welcome to the Pluto and Aquarius era. Welcome to the reckoning. All right, so section 1, we have the receipts they hope you never see. So let's start with some hard truth. America never runs out of money, it runs out of excuses. When Americans ask for affordable housing, modern infrastructure, healthcare, school funding, debt relief, clean water, huge issue going on, mental health support, suddenly the government says, we can't afford that. Where would the money come from? That would raise taxes. That's unrealistic. But when a foreign war erupts, millions approved, billions approved. Oh my God. The next video in this series is like, the information is absolutely insane. The amount of billions of dollars that we have spent on foreign wars within the last couple of years alone is insane. All of that money is approved overnight. It doesn't matter if it's Ukraine, Israel, Iraq, or Afghanistan. The money for foreign violence is always available. Think about it. A country that says it can't afford basic needs for the American people somehow finds $60 billion for a conflict 6,000 miles away. That contradiction is the collapse. All right, section 2 here, the military industrial loop. Why war always wins. Here's a loop you're never supposed to question. Congress funds the Pentagon with hundreds of billions. Pentagon funnels contracts to private weapons companies. Those companies make billions in profit. They use those profits to lobby Congress. Congress authorizes more military spending. The cycle repeats. I'm going to break that down in depth in the next video with a lot of numbers. Foreign conflicts equals profit. Foreign alliances equals profit. Foreign aid, as long as it has buy American weapons clauses, equals profit. Domestic programs, not profitable. Not lobby protected, not politically safe. It is insane how we are gridlocked in our freaking government. I'm going to break it all down. It's really wild. All right, this is why bridges rot, trains derail, hospitals close, teachers quit, mental health explodes, rent is half of your income. And still, the U.S. spends more on its military than the next 10 countries combined. Empire gets fed, people get starved. This is not a mistake, it is the design. Section 3, America isn't a nation first, it's an empire first. Most Americans do not realize this. Huge slap in the face. The United States stopped functioning like a nation decades ago. I actually studied into this back in 2001. 2001 was a huge wake-up call for me, as well as 2009, 2012. I've been on this insane studying all things for 20 freaking years already. All right, so the United States does not, or stopped functioning like a nation decades ago. 40, 50 years ago, at least. It functions like an empire with a domestic population attached. What does that mean? An empire prioritizes global influence, supports foreign allies, controls trade routes, maintains military bases globally, enforces economic dominance, intervenes in conflicts far away, uses diplomacy backed by weapons. A nation feeds its people, houses its people, educates its people, heals its people, protects its people, and uplifts its people. I will certainly get into the educational system of America and how that was infiltrated. Every single branch of everywhere has been infiltrated. And yes, I have been studying that for a long time. And I am going to break it down online because I am no longer going to stay silent or be worried about being shadow banned or whatever. I'm going to be backing up all of my videos on a separate website. So America does the first extremely well, the second barely at all. When a country spends more energy managing the world than caring for the citizens inside its borders, its internal foundations begins to split. This is exactly what ended Rome. It wasn't invading armies, it was internal neglect. Section 4, domestic collapse indicators. The red flags are already here. So let's list the signs every collapsing empire displays shortly before decline. Here's the clean, distilled, brutally honest list of the absolute biggest factors driving America's internal collapse. Not the symptoms, but the root structural causes. So I'm going to break them down into 5 master categories. I should have turned my notifications off. That each contain multiple failures feeding the decline. These are the real drivers. These are the ones empires never recover from unless they are transformed. So number 1, empire over nation, overextension, plus military prioritization. This is the number 1 factor above all others. This is certainly why, you know, I've been diving a lot deeply into Candace Owens and what is going on with her, and you know, I didn't watch is it Charlie Kirk, is that his name? I didn't watch him. I wasn't aware of what was going on with that. But that truly blows wide open the Israel connections, our government, their hands being tied, why he was assassinated. I've dug into his business, his businesses. That has real now I really truly, not just because obviously they were close friends, I get that, but on a deeper soul level, she is also a millennial, Pluto and Scorpio, she cares about the truth. She is an honest journalist, and I see why that is also a huge topic. I'm actually really happy that a lot of people are digging into that deeper. It blows open a lot of the military, the foreign aid going on. I'm gonna be breaking down so much here. I need to stay on track here. All right, so the number one factor is empire over nation. That definitely blew open a lot. America spends more on military than the next 10 countries combined, like I said. More on foreign conflicts than domestic infrastructure. More on projecting power abroad than caring for citizens at home. This creates resource drain, political distraction, impossible obligations, unsustainable alliances, domestic neglect. Rome fell for the same reason. When a country acts like an empire, its people become an afterthought. We have permanent war economy. Defense budget stays massive regardless of who's in office. New conflicts keep appearing just as old ones fade. Any serious talk of cutting the Pentagon is treated as insane or unpatriotic. Government paralysis. Congress can't do basic things without brinkmanship, budgets, and debt ceiling. Major domestic reforms rarely pass. Culture war bills fly through. Lobbyists and donors clearly have more power than voters. I need a coffee break. Oh my god, that tastes so good, and it's warm. All right. Institutional decay, government gridlock, and corruption. The U.S. government is no longer capable of passing major domestic legislation. I am so upset on government legislation. Woof. All right. They're no longer able to respond to crisis, regulating corporations, fixing infrastructure, controlling spending, and managing national priorities. Obviously, national priorities, human trafficking, those types of things, the Epstein files, we don't even need them released because the actual population has already done its due diligence and research. There's so much. Gridlock isn't a glitch. It's proof the system is collapsing under its own weight. Corruption, lobbying, and corporate capture equals a government that serves donors, not voters. When institutions rot, the nations follow. Economic inequality at empire-ending levels. America's inequality now mirrors late Rome, pre-Revolution France, 1800 Britain's before collapse, Soviet Union before breakup. Top 1% hoarding wealth equals population resentment, fragmentation, and radicalization. The middle class is disappearing. No empire survived hyper inequality. It always ends the same. Loss of social cohesion, loss of trust, internal revolt, collapse, or authoritarianism. Hyper inequality, billionaires multiply while basic life costs become impossible. The middle class is squeezed into the working poor. Wealth is financialized, not productive. Housing and land capture, corporate landlords, hedge funds buying entire neighborhoods. The buying of entire neighborhoods, the AI thing, the data centers, that is a whole rabbit hole in itself that I will be getting into on this series, or perhaps my AI technological series. Home ownership becomes unreachable for younger generations. Land and shelter treated like casino chips instead of human necessities. We have social fragmentation and identity polarization. For a nation to survive, people must share common identity and purpose. This is certainly what Dolo is preaching on. He has gone through his own Native American integration of his roots. We have no culture in America. It is identity or culture. It is really sad. So, America now has no shared story, no unified values, no universal narrative, no communal identity, extreme political tribalism, weaponized identity politics, cultural civil war. This is what political scientists call pre-collapse social automation. A nation divided this deeply does not endure. Internal tribalization. People identify more with political identity tribes than as Americans. Families split over politics, religion, race, and culture. Violence and radicalization simmer just under the surface. We have addiction and mental health epidemic, widespread numbness, drugs, alcohol, screens, porn, and escapism. People checking out because they feel the system won't change. You know, I understand a lot of people are waking up right now, and I truly feel for people in that spot in their life. I had this, I've had cyclical awakenings. It's a lifelong journey. Psychology, astrology, I mean, no matter what system you're studying, you realize that everything is very cyclical. um I was very upset years ago when I started looking into our food, the genetically modified, chemically latent like food that we have is not food. We just don't have real food anymore. It's not even nutritious. It has no real value. That really upset me. It really truly upset me, and so I've been slapped in the face by every rabbit hole you go down is so upsetting, and I truly truly understand the feeling of being at the bottom of the ocean and not able to breathe, and feeling like it's hopeless and like we cannot overcome all these issues. The feeling of are we just gone too far? Like, is there any hope? Is there any hope? um yeah, that's a huge reason why I'm creating this series, because there is hope. There is a way. There is a systematic way. It is very important that people understand this information, and keep your head up. Keep your head up. There's hope. More people are awakening and understanding what is going on internally. There's so many layers to this, and I am certainly here to slowly and hopefully in an organized, coherent way help you understand what is truly going on here. I've been activated. I'm ready. You're not alone. So don't check out. The systems will change. Don't feel like they won't. Don't get nihilistic. All right, life expectancy declining. Overdoses, suicide, untreated illness, lack of care. For a wealthy country, that's a huge red alarm. Media as psyop, not information. News is entertainment and outrage and propaganda, not reality. Conspiracy and official narratives start to look equally untrustworthy. People don't know who or what to believe. Loss of legitimacy. People feel the government doesn't represent them. Both parties are seen as captured or fake. Burn it all down. Energy grows on both left and right, and that is not the answer. I can understand the sentiments there, but burning it all to the ground is never the answer. All right, so we have infrastructure and systemic breakdown. This is visible, physical proof of decline. Bridges crumbling, water systems toxic, trains derailing, airports outdated, electrical grids failing, public transit collapsing, schools underfunded, healthcare unaffordable. A first world nation with third world infrastructure is on the edge of internal failure. This is how civilizations die. Material decay mirrors moral decay. So these are more accelerants for a collapse, why it is collapsing, and these don't necessarily cause collapse, but they do speed up collapse of a nation. All right, so media manipulation and disinformation ecosystems creates mass confusion, distrust, and emotional volatility. Fake news. I think we are all understanding of mainstream media. I have not watched in over 20 years. I'm extremely diligent about what I intake of information. I kind of think most of us are beyond that mainstream mainstream narratives. Mental health crisis and addictions epidemic. A hopeless society collapses long before the military does. Declining life expectancy, like I said. A dying population is the final red flag. This is unheard of in a wealthy nation. It means that people are physically breaking under the system. Homelessness normalized. Tents outside skyscrapers is the classic symbol of a societal fracture. The homelessness is extremely, it's a huge issue. It's everywhere. Medical bankruptcy. No other developed nation bankrupts citizens for getting sick. Youth have no future. House impossible. Children too expensive. Retirement a fantasy. God, that Ben Shapiro, man. I just saw a clip from Tucker about Ben Shapiro saying that we should never retire. How dare us feel like we should be able to retire? God, he's gone off the rails. Holy cow. All right. So, yeah, law enforcement and social systems overwhelmed because they're patching holes in a sinking ship. Automation and job displacement, economic instability breeds political extremism. Corporate monopolies, huge. That's going to be the toughest. All of these are going to be tough, but the information is key here. Understanding what's going on first to have a bird's eye view. Economic instability breeds, I just said that, when corporates rule instead of elected official equals collapse. These are not random, they're markers of late empire. The core truth in one sentence: America is collapsing because it tried to be an empire instead of a nation, and it funded global dominance while starving its own foundation. This is exactly what Pluto and Aquarius is exposing: the systems that no longer serve the people. Put simply, the internal trust, coherence, and physical structures needed for a nation to function are all eroding at once. Here's the real truth, the part almost no one says out loud, because the answer isn't a single policy, a single president, or a single magic fix. America's collapse isn't a technical problem, it's a structural and spiritual problem. So the solutions have to be just as multi-layered. All right, I'm gonna take a little quick break. This is just the overarching viewpoint of what is going on. I am certainly going to be giving solutions and tons more information throughout this series, so don't feel hopeless. All right, so this is an important section. It's not very long, but a lot of people ask, why doesn't the president just solve it? And, I mean, the left, the right, they're all of the same bird. I think that anyone in politics, once you get that high up, I mean, they're corrupt, but honestly, no president, I mean, they don't have control of the Pentagon, the intelligence agencies, the military contracts, the foreign policy legacy, the decades of treaties, the base networks, the weapons manufacturing industry, and classified operations already in motion. So, the president doesn't even control the budget. The Congress does. The Congress is gridlocked. The military industrial structure is bigger than one person. So take that into consideration. All right, so the shadow machinery. How money leaves your life. Here's a brutal truth. Every dollar America sends abroad is a dollar extracted from domestic possibility. When the U.S. spends billions to foreign militaries, that's money not rebuilding Flint's water, not fixing bridges, not reducing rent, not treating addiction, not supporting veterans, not funding schools, not stabilizing families, not updating power grids, and not preparing for other huge impacts. A nation that refuses to invest in its people cannot survive indefinitely. People become exhausted, hopeless, angry, polarized, and distrusting. That's what we're seeing now. Not random. It is a pattern. So I'm going to get into a little bit of the indigenous pattern recognition. Obviously, that is my blood. Indigenous people have seen this play out for centuries. Empires overreach, they violate natural law, ignore their people, and collapse from within. This is why your intuition feels what's happening before the news catches up. When the inner foundation of a nation weakens, external projection becomes hollow. The United States cannot remain globally dominant while its domestic reality crumbles. History won't allow it. Nature won't allow it. Spirit won't allow it. Sorry, my camera's wiggling. All right, so now I'm going to get into the actual roadmap, the only thing that can detangle all of this, and what the people who study empire, collapse theory, indigenous governance, and Pluto and Aquarian cycles all converge on. This is not the pretty answer, it's the necessary one. Number one, radical domestic reprioritization. So, nation over empire. The U.S. must stop being a global empire and start acting like a nation again. That means reducing foreign military commitments, drastically cutting war spending, reallocating budget toward infrastructure, health, education, and housing, and ending the world police role. This is the number one requirement. Nothing else works unless the empire overreach stops. Rome collapsed because it tried to control everything except its own home. The U.S. is doing exactly that. Demilitarization of life. End empire logic. America's interior cannot heal until its exterior obsession ends. This means stop trying to run the world. Reduce foreign military commitments, like I said. Reallocate Pentagon funding to domestic systems. Stop extracting national spirit through endless war. Break the psychological addiction to intervention. Empires die when they treat war as identity. Nations heal when they make peace for their foundation. This is the root wound of America and the number one thing that must change. I need to get comfortable. I'm like sitting Indian style in my desk per normal. All right, there. All right, so number two, local sovereignty, revival, decentralization. A nation can only survive when power returns closer to the people. The future isn't big national solutions. It's regional, local, and community level resilience. Local agriculture, local energy generation, more power to states and municipalities, less dependence on federal institutions, local supply chains, local governance, and models. Collapse, experts call this rebuilding from the bottom up. This is exactly what Indigenous governance looked like. This is exactly what Aquarian decentralization means. This is exactly what collapses empire overreach. The future is networked localism, not federal gigantism. Number 3, demonetization of basic life. Stop financializing survival. America turned necessities into profit machines. Housing, water, education, healthcare, food, land, mental health, and energy. A society cannot survive when everything required to live is controlled by corporate monopolies. The fix reclassifies certain essentials as public utilities and definancialize them. Just removing basic survival from predatory capitalism. You cannot heal a nation when life itself is a commodity. Housing is basic human right, healthcare, public good, water, protected resource, food, community-led, mental health, accessible, education, affordable, energy, regulated, not monopolized. This is not socialism or capitalism, it's natural law. It's how indigenous societies live for 10,000 years without collapse. America collapses because it's monetized everything sacred. The cure is demoting money's role in survival. Number 4, break corporate capture of government. This is probably the hardest portion. Lobbyists rule Congress, corporations write laws, defense contractors write foreign policy, pharma writes healthcare, tech writes privacy laws. The only way out is ban corporate PAC donations, cap lobbying access, term limits, public financing of elections, anti-monopoly enforcement. No empire in history survives corporate capture. I need to take a moment of silence for that one. This is such a scary time to be in, but also like amazing. Like the extremes of both of those polarities are wild. When money becomes the god, the system fails. Number 5, rebuild social cohesion, shared narrative. America cannot function if half the population believes the other half is the enemy. The U.S. needs a new story, one that transcends political tribes, radical divisions, class resentment, religious weaponization, huge, generational hatred, huge, huge, huge. A nation cannot survive when its story fractures. We need a new American myth, a unifying narrative of renewal, archetypes that people recognize within themselves, a shared understanding of who we are beyond culture wars, a spiritual identity that transcends politics. Number 6, trauma healing at scale, internal repair. America has untreated ancestral trauma, racial trauma, religious trauma, poverty trauma, addiction trauma, relational trauma, and identity trauma. A traumatized population becomes reactive, polarized, easily manipulated, controlled, and hopeless. This is why mental health collapse equals national collapse. The solution: normalize emotional literacy. I am working so hard on all of this, I can promise you that. Shadow work, intergenerational healing, somatic practices, spiritual grounding, and indigenous relational models, as well as nervous system integration, polarity integration within ourselves, our relationships, and our collective. America doesn't need more politics. It needs psycho-spiritual healing. Number 7, technological overhaul. Tech must be regulated and spiritually aligned. Aquarius rules technology. Pluto rules power. We currently have Pluto in Aquarius, and that is our initiation into the Aquarian Age. So the test is, will technology serve consciousness or consume it? I know many of you have different feelings on technology, AI. I don't know if I'm going to get into that in my other series. So we need AI transparency, digital rights, non-predatory algorithms, decentralized platforms, psychic spiritual protection practices, tech built with natural law principles. This is the battleground of the next 20 years. Number 8, spiritual reorientation, returning to natural law. This is the deepest pillar. Every empire collapses when it violates land, spirit, reciprocity, community, cycles, ancestors, and balance. The only long-term way forward is indigenizing the American soul. Not stealing indigenous culture, but restoring indigenous principles. Honoring land, restoring relationship, collective responsibility, intergenerational perspective, thinking 7 years ahead, healing 7 years behind, non-extractive living, ceremony, rites of passage, integration of masculine and feminine energetics. This isn't optional, it's the correction cycle of history. The only real cure is a return to natural balance. This doesn't mean go live in a hut. It means rebuild society on principles older than empire and older than colonization. This is the spiritual destiny of the Aquarian Age. I just felt an overwhelming wave of emotions. The real answer in one sentence. We need to embody, build, model, and catalyze the next era's worldview. Teaching alone is not enough. Talking alone is not enough. Knowledge alone is not enough. It is certainly a huge step. People need frameworks, maps, rituals, narratives, archetypes, community, identity, meaning, spiritual anchoring, and psychological integration. That is why I'm here. Thank you for being here. This is a wild time to be alive. All right, so the individual blueprint, how a person survives and evolves through a national collapse cycle. Collapse is not an ending. I'm so overwhelmed, like, with collective emotional stuff right now. Like, whew, I'm a Pisces 12th house, Venus North Node. I'm extremely spiritual in a Native American sense, and I hope to goodness that we can get a grip. All right. Collapse is not an ending. It is a purification of structures that can no longer carry consciousness. But the people who thrive through it all share 5 traits. I need a drink. I'm getting choked up here, sorry. All right. So the people who thrive and all share 5 traits. Number 1, nervous system mastery. If you can regulate your nervous system, you can regulate your reality. This looks like breath practices, grounding, somatic release, trauma integration, masculine feminine integration, cold exposure, and movement. This is the Taurus axis, Taurus Scorpio axis. I will be breaking that down throughout multiple series in different languages because, yeah, It's needed. Why it matters. A dysregulated population becomes controllable. A regulated population becomes unstoppable. Another great way to do nervous system regulation is to unplug. I don't do Facebook. I don't do TikTok. I don't do Instagram. I am solely here on YouTube and my own website. I will be backing up this information on, I'm not sure what platform yet, but just in case type of thing, because I'm going all in right now. But yeah, nervous system regulation is certainly, understanding your own psychology, astro-psychology. That's a huge reason why I do that. You can understand your own thinking and feeling. Nutrition, fitness, cutting cords, relationships, your environment, making sure that you have a healthy environment, clean environment, good people. Number 2, psychological shadow integration. People who fear their own darkness get manipulated by other people. To survive the Aquarian transit, you need awareness of projections, huge thing, trauma awareness, emotional intelligence, self-confrontation, deceit detection skills, pattern recognition, and cognitive autonomy. Number 3, spiritual anchoring, natural law alignment. You must be anchored in ancestors, your own ancestors. That is a huge grand trine. We currently have a huge grand trine going on. That is a huge activation with the ancestral. This whole year has been ancestral healing for me. I went a lot into my family tree. Studying the different tribes, what their practices. I actually have my own series on that as well. I have like 10 series going on right now. But you must be anchored in your own ancestors. Land, intuition, ritual, synchronicity, cosmic timing, and archetypal energy. Aquarius dissolves old beliefs. Without a spiritual anchor, people become nihilistic. Getting back to your roots is a huge thing. Skill, number 4, skill stacking, multidisciplinary competence. Aquarius favors polymath, not specialist. Like decentralization, getting away from freaking compartmentalization. Jesus. People need practical skills, gardening, first aid, finances, tech literacy, emotional skills, communication, and conflict resolution. The way that you can do that is understanding personality types. Spiritual skills, intuition, energy work, intellectual skills, systems thinking. Number 5, community bonds, shared purpose. You cannot survive a paradigm shift alone. Micro communities matter more than the nation state now. This is how humans have always survived collapse. I can't stand politics, but you need to be aware of your own local politics, state politics. Yeah, it's important. The community blueprint. What small groups must build to stay resilient through societal upheaval? Communities that survive have shared identity and narrative. A group that knows what it is and why it exists can withstand chaos. Examples: spiritual communities, indigenous rooted circles, trauma aware groups, survival skill collectives, astrology and psychology based groups, for example. Resource exchange systems, barter trade, shared gardens, local energy microgrids. In collapsed times, local replaces national. Community channels, people need offline backup plans, encrypted messaging, clear roles and boundaries, conflict protocols. Aquarius rules networks. This is the new survival skill. So it's not only having an overarching eagle eye view of what's going on in our nation. You also need to be really getting in tune with your local community. Emotional containment. Groups die when leaders collapse, emotions run unchecked, and trauma cycles explode. Emotional containment is huge. Number 5, shared ritual and meaning. We need ceremony to stabilize chaos. This does not mean religion. It means moon cycles, for example. Women, your, your own cycles. Don't hate your own cycles, for goodness sakes. Seasonal rites, the seasons, understanding what season you're in and what it represents, and getting in tune with that in yourself. Communal meals, getting back to having shared family meals. Intention setting and shared values. And true male initiation, that's a huge one. Indigenous nations survive thousands of years with these practices. All right, so the national blueprint, what the U.S. must do to avoid total fracture. These are 5 non-negotiable national solutions. So that was the personal solutions, community, close community solutions. Now we're going to get back into the national blueprint. All right, number 1, internal reinvestment. Shift trillions from empire to domestic survival. Infrastructure, healthcare, mental health, housing, education, and energy. Empires fall because they abandon home. Decentralized governance. The federal government cannot solve the crisis. It's too big. Power must shift to states, counties, local councils, regional compacts. So you need to be getting more involved with your local governments, understanding what is going on. Economic rebalancing, break monopolies, regulate predatory finance, restructure the housing market. I thought, at first I was like, yeah, things are going to go down, but no, they're not. Yeah, my grandfather has gone on a huge, we're a farming family, but he has gotten into the housing market. He's got tons and tons of houses, and people are just struggling right now. He has bought so many houses and is trying to help our local community. He has such a big heart. I have a total different managing style than he does. I certainly have to give him credit for his heart. People are certainly struggling right now. It's sad, and I need to do a lot more research, but that's a rough one. The housing, the cost of housing, the cost of education, reducing debt dependence, huge. An economy built on extraction is a doomed economy. Social cohesion repair. We must rebuild the American myth. Not patriotism, not nationalism. A new story, multicultural, indigenous informed, trauma aware, spiritually mature, future oriented, united through values, not ideology. Number 5, climate and infrastructure adaptation. Without water, energy, agriculture, transportation, nothing else matters. This is not doom, this is strategy. The U.S. must fortify food systems, grids, water security, housing, and emergency response capacity. These are the pillars of the next era. The spiritual timeline. So now we're going to get into the astrological lens. The spiritual timeline, 2025 through 2044. Pluto in Aquarius, what happens and why we are here now. This is the deepest download of all. The astrological timeline of collapse and rebirth. Now let's overlay the cosmic side. Pluto equals collapse, death, rebirth, exposure, and transformation. Aquarius equals systems, governments, networks, society, and the collective. So Pluto and Aquarius, for those of you, I don't know. It's like, it depends on who I'm talking to. So yes, I'm obviously talking to a camera right now, and to those who understand this language, hopefully. So the outer planets, I obviously get into astrology and birth charts. I'm gonna do a little plug here. If any of you have a question about anything astrology, psychology, your own birth chart, a relational, your romantic partner, your child, your boss, any type of question you have about any of this, feel free to go to my website. I do have a question. You can click on, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but you can ask any question. I believe it's like $11. So if you do have any type of question, feel free to click on that on my website and ask about anything. But the outer planets represent the collective grid in your own birth chart, as well as obviously the collective globe. And so Pluto in Aquarius is a huge collective grid work ordeal here. And so Pluto entered Aquarius in 2023, and it stays in Aquarius until 2044. So it is an obvious, huge initiation into a whole different age. I've broken that down in other videos. We have closed many different cycles. Like, where to begin? We've just closed many different cycles, I'll put it that way. And so we're entering a whole new age, and it is affecting us on every single level that you can ever imagine, individually and collectively. So this is the 20-year period where corrupt systems break, old alliances shift, governments lose their illusion, the collective wakes up, the people confront empire, and technology accelerates collapse. Every time Pluto moves, signs entire civilization shift. So this is historical. You can look at astrology through historical patterns and timelines. When Pluto was in Aquarius last time was in 1777 through 1798, the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the collapse of monarchies, the transformation of global power. Pluto in Aquarius always exposes the shadow of the system itself. Right now, the system being exposed is empire economics versus domestic survival. This is why you're feeling truth bubbling up everywhere. It's not coincidence. It's a cycle. All right, so the crossroads. What happens next? We are at a fork in the path. Path 1, reprioritization. Pull back global overreach, reduce military commitments, reinforce domestic life. I sure hope you can hear me fine. Probably should have had this closer to my face. Rebuild infrastructure, heal the people, reinvest in social and economic stability. This path is possible, but unpopular with the elite. Path number 2, late empire collapse. Rome chose this path, Britain chose this path, the Soviet Union chose this path. When domestic decay accelerates faster than empire spending stops, collapse becomes inevitable. America is dangerously close to this line, which way it goes depends on whether the people wake up in time. All right, so phase 1, we have the cracking, 2023 through 2026. Systems reveal their rot, corruption rises to the surface, wars intensify, collective confusion peaks, people awaken and panic simultaneously. Phase 2, the disintegration, 2026 through 2032. This is the hardest part for society. Expect political upheaval, legitimacy crisis, institutional failures, social fragmentation, economic volatility, spiritual awakening explosions. People need clarity, vision, cosmology, grounding, archetypes, frameworks, and spiritual guidance. Phase 3, the reconstruction, 2032 through 2044, and I will go a lot more in depth with this in my Aquarian Age series, but I just wanted to kind of give a little overview here for this series, just in case you're not too interested in that. So phase 3, reconstruction, 2032 through 2044 through the astrological lens. New systems form, new governance models, new community networks, new technology ethics, new American identity, new spiritual world view. A nation cannot serve two masters. America cannot be a global empire and a thriving nation at the same time. It must choose. Empires always believe they're invincible, right until the moment they're not. But here's the truth. America isn't dying. America is being hollowed out. And the only cure is reprioritization. Pluto in Aquarius is here to expose every misplaced dollar, every broken promise, every system that drains the people in the name of empire. The old world is cracking, a new one is waiting. And the question for all of us is simple. Do we choose collapse or transformation? So that is the end of my first video for the geopolitical series, Empire, Shadow, and Aquarius, the Truth Era. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Went a little bit longer than I expected, per usual. But yeah, look out for the next video. I will be getting into, let me scroll down here. I went too far. Okay, so I'll be getting into the war machine, military industrial complex, the intelligent state, etc., etc., U.S. Israel relationships, all of that. There's a lot. I've got a lot outlined here. So I will continue on. I do hope that you enjoyed this video, and hopefully it helped you have an overarching view of what is going on currently. It does feel like chaos. It does feel a little hopeless. I follow many different kinds of people here on YouTube, and each are saying it in their own way. But overall, I see that people are understanding what is going on, and it is just going to take us to explain what is going on and connect with knowledge, with our community, with ourselves. It's just integration, deep integration. We have to reveal the shadow first in order to integrate the shadow of all of this. So anyways, check out my books if you're interested. I have apparel, stickers. Everything is 33% off until December 21st with code Phoenix33. I appreciate all of your support, likes, subscribes, all of it helps out immensely. So yeah, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.